Yo, 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 yo. What's good with it? It's the homie Mac. Music, art, culture, knowledge. Each one teach one. Peace and love. Reporting live from the Dogon. You know what it is. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Subscribe to the YouTube channel 82 Kings. Click the notification bell, that like button, man. Tap in. Right now, we're in the midst of I'm making that sound rough. I made that sound really serious. Right now, we're in the midst of it's really not that deep. This is just another session of Mac. Well, it is deep when you think about the long-term potential reverberations of what I'm talking about. But this is a session of Mackin' with Mac. Book review series. Like how I'm doing the 360, the 180. Well, not even 180. Just a spin. Let me come back. Yeah, so the book review that I'm doing today is none other than AI Superpowers, China, Silicon Valley, and the New World Order. Excuse the parents, y'all know I'll be reading books and I work. I'll be out there working and reading, and I work in the elements. So this book has incurred a little bit of damage, but it's still legible. AI Superpowers, China, Silicon Valley, and the New World Order. It's written by, wait, hold up. This was actually a New York Times bestseller. Who was it published by? Where is the publisher? Give me 1 second. For some reason, I cannot find the publisher. Okay, give me 1 second. This book was published by Mariner Books, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt, Boston, New York. Yeah, book written by Kai-Fu Lee. Kai-Fu Lee is a Taiwanese. I was going to do some of this freestyle, some of this memory, but I want to be a little bit more thorough. I'll oscillate back and forth between freestyle and the memory, because that's just how my brain works. But I want to have a little bit of structure. Give me 1 second. I say that a lot. Give me 1 second. Yeah, so Kai-Fu Lee. He was born December 3rd, 1961 in Taipei County, Taiwan. Let's see. He is a computer scientist, a businessman, a writer, and a speaker. He is currently based out of Beijing, China. He went to Columbia University, got his BS in Bachelor of Science in Columbia University. Then he got a PhD from Carnegie Mellon in computer science. He's an expert in artificial intelligence. He was a former president of Google China. He's a venture capitalist, and he is the co-founder of Sinovation Ventures. Yeah, this book, I'm a scientist. I deal more in biology, organic human biology, anatomy and physiology, microbiology, things of that nature. But this book is clearly more centered around machinery, automation, data engineering, deep learning. But I guess the overarching thing is artificial intelligence. There is a quote, let me see, that Kai-Fu Lee has in this book, and I think it's very telling. He says, "We are not passive spectators in the story of AI. We are the authors of it." I like that. A lot of times I think when we talk about phenomenon, how things shift and evolve, it's almost like we're powerless. But in that instant, he said, no, look, we can regulate this. This thing doesn't have to go off the rails. We don't have to be victims. We're humans. We're smart. We can use our humanity and goodwill to make artificial intelligence serve us. This doesn't have to turn into this dystopian Terminator 3, people looking for John Connor so the human species can survive. No, it doesn't have to get that way. But this book actually starts off with a man named Lee Sedol. He was a Go player. Go is this board game. It's very intricate, very detailed. You have to have very efficient cognitive abilities to play it and be good. But anyway, Lee Sedol, a genius Go player, and he played against AlphaGo, which I want to say AlphaGo was a Google creation. Pretty much, it was man versus machine. And I think they played 5 rounds, and Lee Sedol forfeited. And this was like as Kai-Fu Lee says, it was like a Sputnik moment. It's like oh my goodness, this is like a scientific breakthrough. A machine beat a man in a critical thinking game. The duality in that is, as a science nerd, I can see how someone would be excited about that. But at the same time, the thing that really makes me nervous about the human species, it's like we're in this race to replace ourselves. In this book, Kai-Fu Lee says that he said within the next 10 to 15 years, 40 to 60% of the workforce will be automated. But I don't think that's necessarily room to be afraid, because the thing is, if we use AI correctly, it can serve us. It can make our jobs easier. It can make our jobs more efficient. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to fall to the way of greed. Because my thing is this, everything in this world is about trade, services, and goods. And it's like, you have to serve people. If you're having machines doing all the serving and there aren't any workers to do the serving, who are you going to be able to serve? Because the people aren't even going to have the capital to buy your goods and services, right? So it's almost like you're cutting people out the market that you would actually need to actually spend money with you. If they have no jobs to spend money, where does that leave us? But the thing that's really interesting in this book, he talks about how there was how if we don't regulate AI correctly, the gap between, you talk about the racial wealth gap, you talk about just the wealth gap in general, not even just race, but just the wealth gap in general, that there will be no middle class. There will just be people who have found a way to make AI work for them, and they will be ridiculously rich and wealthy. And then there will be people who would have nada. They would have nothing. They will live in abject poverty. They will be hella indigent. And that I don't like a world like that. I don't like a world where there are people who are filthy rich and there are people who have nothing. I don't like that. Karl Marx speaks of the bourgeoisie, owners of the means of production, then the proletariat, then the lumpen proletariat. The lumpen proletariat meaning being the poorest of the poor. The bourgeoisie being the wealthy, the people who own the institutions, who own, who pretty much have all the capital. And my thing is with AI, first of all, Karl Marx would say, well, before I say Karl Marx, let me go back to what Friedrich Engels said. He said, all history is class struggle. And it is. And I think it'll be interesting to see how class interfaces with AI. That is a constant theme in this book. But I want to say this. Karl Marx always said that the bourgeoisie exploited the proletariat and the lumpen proletariat. But if AI is used with avarice, if AI is used with no wisdom, the proletariat will be replaced. They won't have jobs. There will be the proletariat and the lumpen proletariat will still exist. But there may be such a state of indigency where there will be no proletariat. It'll just be bourgeoisie and lumpen proletariat. Where am I going with this? It's just ultimately somebody. I've heard people say, "Well, AI they don't form unions. AIs don't call in sick," and I get it, and I guess it is more efficient from a business standpoint. But we need to also understand we're dealing with humans. Let's not just totally eviscerate our humanity. What do I want to talk about? In this book, it just talks about how the importance of data and how pretty much there's a dichotomy that exists in the AI world. You have something called rule-based learning for AI, and there's something called neural pathways. With rule-based learning, it's pretty much it's extraneous. The person, the engineer, pretty much puts the software, the algorithm within the computers, and it just pretty much does what it's told. But the thing is, on the antithesis of that, which is neural pathways, these neural pathways are actually designed off it's designed off the functionality of our brains. How we have neurons and neurological pathways in our brain where we get data, we get information, and then we draw our own conclusions. Essentially a sentient being. And I think the neural pathway school of thought is what scares a lot of people, because it's like we'll get to a point where machines are totally sentient. The human element is voided almost. And I can understand how that could be scary. But the thing that I really liked about this book is how Kai-Fu Lee was actually diagnosed with lymphoma. I don't like the fact he was diagnosed with lymphoma, but he was diagnosed with lymphoma, and he confronted his mortality. He realized, like, dang, I've been spending my whole life trying to optimize my brain, living like a machine, but my humanity, I negated my own humanity. I didn't treat the people. I didn't spend a lot of time with the people I loved. I did not treat them right. I could have did a lot. And I love the fact that he realized, like, look, we can't get so caught up in this data engineering, data analysis, deep thinking, deep learning, all this stuff, deep mind, where we rob ourselves of our own humanity. And it took him getting a cancer diagnosis to realize, like, look, let's take a step back and understand human capital is infinitely important. Having a sense of humanity is important. We can't get so caught up in AI and just making money that we just totally avoid the human element. One of the things that I liked about this book, he also talks about how the potential financial reverberations of everything becoming AI based. He talks about how we would need a UBI, universal basic income. How people should be able to afford basic human necessities, and not low end, not cheap, low quality, but no, sufficient things that are sufficient. The thing that's really interesting about this book, because I'm somewhat of an overthinker, depending on who you ask. I feel like this book is called AI Superpowers: China, Silicon Valley, and the New World Order, and the cover is basically designed like the Chinese flag. The color scheme, the font, like the Chinese flag. And on some covers, there's actually a star in the O where it says powers. So yeah, is it a little bit of propaganda? I don't know. He makes a point to say, the AI superpowers. I know it sounds like such dichotomy. China versus America, Cold War, here we go. But one of the things that I did like that he's mentioned in this book is like, look, it doesn't have to be a us versus them thing. For the betterment of humanity, China, America, anyone who wants to make technological investments or advancements, let's come together collectively and push humanity forward. So I like the fact that this book has a very humane undertone. I think Kai-Fu Lee comes from a very noble space. I like how he juxtaposed Chinese culture with American culture. And one of the things I respect about the Chinese, they invest in data and they invest in information and they want to learn. I remember reading something in this book where it said that tutoring children is like $1 billion industry in China. Like, not necessarily just in China, but the tutoring services that they have, they're making billions. I don't think all their clients are strictly in China, but it's very interesting how a lot of people just want to be entertained. But no, it's deeper than entertainment. We have to create thinkers. I do have being a ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, African American, American born. I grew up in a military family. I was a little bit suspicious of this book, and I'm not like this McCarthyist, like down with kill the commie bastards. It's not like that. But I wanted to make sure that this book wasn't just simply propaganda. I think he takes Kai-Fu Lee takes a very humane approach to this book. I think he writes it from a very pragmatic way. I don't think he has a lot of bias in this book. I feel like it was pretty balanced. Yeah, he said they're doing great things in China, and he also said, yeah, they're doing great things in America. And let me tap into one more thing. One of the things that he talked about in this book were the let me find it. The different types of AI: internet AI, business AI, perception AI, autonomous AI, internet AI, the algorithm on your phone when you're shopping on Amazon, and then you get notifications of, hey, you may like this, you want to buy this, because it's an algorithm. They figure, you bought this, so you may like this, so let me influence you. And then you have business AI, how you have AI that is encrypted or imbued with the ability to do business functions such as billing, keeping records. And then you have what is known as perception AI, which is pretty much VR, virtual reality, gaming, creating a virtual space. And then you have autonomous AI, which is pretty much self-driving cars, the robotics, the machinery that is able to do things autonomously, but with wisdom at the behest of humans and service to humans. I know I said a lot. This is a really good book. I encourage everyone to read it. This book was kind of scary, but it was hopeful at the same time, because it's like at times Kai-Fu Lee would oscillate. He'd be like, hey, there's hope. And then it's like he taps you on your shoulder and he's like, but this could happen and we could totally become a dystopian. And it's just like, whoa, which is it, bro? But no, I think it's a great book. I think there are a lot of things to rudiment, to muse over. Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite chapters is chapter 6, Utopia, Dystopia, and the Real AI Crisis. I think he takes a very pragmatic look at what could go wrong if we don't